Hey you guys, welcome back to the channel. And today we're getting into the topic of what is personality shaming. Now you hear all the time people say body shaming, and a lot of times that can go towards men and it can go towards women. Often you hear it more towards for women, even though I do think there is an equal pressure for men to also maybe stay fit, because though they don't talk about this a lot, nobody gives grace to a man who is completely out of shape and really heavy or whatever the case is. It's just not even considered, and most men know that. A lot of women sometimes will be in a space where it said, don't body shame them because, they should be able to be liked as well, or whatever the case is. But when it comes to personality shaming, is something that I feel that is on the other side of the foot is a big deal, specifically for the men. We're going to break down what is personality shaming. Personality shaming is when somebody shames somebody or belittles them in some kind of way because of their personality. Now, sometimes it's not openly the way that body shaming will be, but it still has just as large of an effect. This could be something like, especially when it comes to the dating world, where there could be a man, like I said, this pertains more towards men, but there are some women who go through this where they might seem like they are a good suitor in the dating world, but then someone might go, oh, that person's corny, they're not cool enough, they're not this and that, or maybe certain things about themselves that they like, maybe they're into certain hobbies, certain interests, and somebody says like, oh, that's not cool, or that's not trendy, or, maybe their personality is not smooth enough, they're not, whatever it is. And it creates a dynamic in which somebody is shamed for having a certain personality dynamic. And the truth is, changing your personality dynamic is often harder than changing your body dynamic. A lot of times when people don't change their work on their body, that comes from laziness. When a person has a certain type of personality, well, that's who they are inside, as far as in their core, inside and out, that's who they are. And that becomes a big thing in terms of, if they change that, then they're not being accepted for who they are. So that's why that becomes like a very big deal. Now, one aspect about this that really can affect society when it comes to personality shaming is that it starts to bottlenose the kind of personalities that society wants to exist. So what happens is that you get less variety, and everyone starts to now become one singular type of personality, or a group of singular type of personalities. Maybe it gets bottlenosed into, we'll just say for example's sake, 5 different types of personalities that are all maybe somewhat similar, but all accepted, because out of the many infinite different personalities that can exist out there, because people start to kind of gear towards that. This actually then affects a lot of things in terms of in the dating world specifically, but even it can affect in the friendship world as well, and acquaintances. But it definitely affects things to the dating world. And like I said, more so it does for men than it does women. But where it forces the idea that if you don't have a certain personality type, now you cannot get a suitor. And the reason why I say it affects men more than it does women, because generally speaking, if a woman is attractive, men are going to like her regardless. For men, there's more elements going on than just simply, is that person attractive? So if they don't have a personality, which is usually the key aspect, it's not to say they don't have a personality, let me retract that. If they don't have a desired personality based on what the quote unquote trends are at the time, it can lead to, like I said, them not trying to, maybe feeling inadequate or whatever the case is, or not being able to get a suitor, or maybe even trying to change who they are to fit a certain type of personality later on down the line, if they're even capable of doing that. So this really does greatly affect, because a lot of times of all the varied type of personalities, 9 times out of 10, the types that are less desired are often the ones who are working harder towards being a better person. It's just part of the laws of nature, where obviously if you have less success for a suitor or friends, you then have to try harder in life to build yourself up to get the things you want, which means obviously at that point they become more, at least on paper, a better person, yet don't have the personality type that others want. So that's why I say it does affect things in that grand aspects of society in that way, where often people who have desired personalities tend to not have to build as much in life or do certain things because they already have plenty or very plentiful in their social life dynamic. The same thing goes hand in hand with, like, say, the concept of body shaming. The people who are normally body shamed are often usually nicer people and usually have a lot of the qualities that somebody is looking for outside of the fact that maybe they feel like they aren't attractive. Case in point, if you have a woman who is, she might feel a certain way about her looks or her body shape, and people might, quote unquote, body shame, as they say. This person might actually be a very nice person, maybe a very homely person who likes to create a very positive home environment for somebody. And so those traits now are being looked over because of the body shaming. The same thing works for personality shaming. What are your thoughts, you guys, on this topic? Have you guys, I know it probably has never given a name before, but have you guys seen this, experienced it, or seen it happen to any of your friends before? Do you know of this being a thing? Let me know in the comments below, you guys. And as always, like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.